Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today, we're going to help you prep for a specific job interview, that oil and gas production manager position.
Yeah, we're going beyond just typical advice here. We really want to equip you with what you need to know to understand those questions interviewers ask, but more importantly, like why they're asking it. That way you can give answers that really hit the mark.
We're armed with real interview questions, the kind that could make or break your chances. We've got some insider tips from a career guide, too, on what it really takes to thrive in this role.
And we've even got some tips and tricks for you on how RoleCatcher and its AI can be a really useful tool throughout this whole process.
Sounds good to me. Ready to get started.
Absolutely. So I think step one is really wrapping our heads around what this role actually entails. Because it's more than just reading a job description, right? It's really understanding the scope of the responsibilities.
Right, so more than just kind of like the day-to-day, what else is there?
Exactly. You're essentially conducting an entire orchestra. You've got drilling schedules, extraction operations, and even like waste management to think about. And you're trying to hit production targets without compromising on safety or quality.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it really is a balancing act, which is probably why nailing this interview is so important.
Mm.
Speaking of, RoleCatcher had a good question in their interview guide. It was, can you explain your experience working with drilling operations? Sounds pretty simple at first, but I feel like there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, you're right. They want to see real experience, not just what you know in theory. So instead of just listing off every single drilling technique you've come across, try to focus on certain projects. Give some
Oh,
specifics.
okay, I see. So like if I'd worked on a project with directional drilling, don't just say that. Really get into the
Yeah,
detail.
like walk them through it. What were the tough parts? What decisions did you have to make? What was the result? Maybe you had to adjust the drilling mud or deal with equipment issues, things like that. It shows you can handle problems on the fly, which is
Mm.
crucial for this job.
It's way more interesting to hear, too. Gives them something to latch onto.
Mm.
Do you think they usually follow up on those kinds of things? Like ask about specific drilling challenges you faced.
Oh, for sure. Be ready to go a little deeper. They might ask about a time a well wasn't producing as expected or a sudden equipment malfunction, anything like that. That's where all your prep and hands-on experience come in.
It's about showing them you can handle the tough stuff, that you don't crack under pressure. Now, this next question from RoleCatcher's Guide is a big one. How do you ensure compliance with safety and environmental regulations in oil and gas production? This one just screams responsibility to me.
Right. This is a big one. It's not enough to just know the regulations. You have to demonstrate you're truly committed to maintaining the highest safety and environmental standards.
Okay, so what are some examples an interviewee could give? What would really impress you?
Think about times you didn't just meet the bare minimum, but went above and beyond. Like maybe you implemented a new safety program that reduced accidents or found a better way to dispose of waste. Things like that highlight that you're proactive.
It's about taking initiative to improve things, not just following the rules because you have to.
Hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of going above and beyond, I noticed RoleCatcher's career guide emphasized the importance of always learning.
It's so true, though. The oil and gas industry is constantly changing. New technologies, new regulations, global events, it all impacts the industry, so you have to stay current. Certifications, workshops, publications, those are all key for long-term success.
Makes sense. Got to keep those skills sharp. Okay, let's tackle another question from RoleCatcher. This one's, how do you manage and optimize production schedules? Sounds kind of like a logistical nightmare.
It definitely can be. This is all about your organizational skills and your strategic thinking. So be prepared to talk about any scheduling software you've used, how you use data to make decisions, and how you work with other teams.
So it's really a team effort then, working with geologists, engineers, even the technicians out in the field.
Exactly. Oh, and don't forget about unexpected problems. Equipment failures, weather delays, sudden changes in demand. Be ready to talk about how you handle those curveballs. That's where your judgment under pressure comes in.
Problem solving is key. And you know what else can really help you prepare? RoleCatcher's AI-powered feedback. Imagine being able to practice your response to this exact question and get advice on how to make it even better.
Right. That's the cool thing about their platform. The AI analyzes your answer, tells you what needs work, even suggests better phrasing or things to add, like having your own interview coach.
Love it. Okay, so moving on, the interview guide also highlights the importance of ensuring worker safety.
Absolutely. This question goes deep into your commitment to a safe work environment. Don't be afraid to get specific. Have you implemented safety programs? conducted hazard assessments. Share those examples. Show them you go above and beyond to keep people safe.
Safety first, always. All right, question number 5 shifts gears a bit to equipment and facilities maintenance. What do we need to know about this one?
A preventative mindset is crucial here. Talk about your experience with preventative maintenance programs. How do you use data to predict potential issues? How do you minimize downtime? It's all about keeping things running smoothly.
Sounds like it's about maximizing efficiency and avoiding those costly surprises.
100%. And of course, we can't forget about the financial side. Question 6 dives into budgeting and cost control.
So being prepared to talk about your budgeting experience, tracking expenses, finding creative ways to save money without sacrificing quality or safety.
Right. Highlight those successful cost-saving initiatives. Maybe you negotiated a better rate with a supplier or streamlined a process to cut down on waste. Those numbers speak volumes.
It shows them you're business-minded too. Okay, next up we've got question 7, which is all about quality control.
A critical part of the process. This is where you really want to showcase your attention to detail. How do you maintain quality throughout production?
So for this one, I'd want to talk about specific protocols I've put in place, maybe even audits or inspections I've led. Is that what they're looking for?
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget those problem-solving skills we talked about. Have you ever found a quality issue? How did you tackle it? Those stories show you're proactive about keeping those standards high.
Makes sense. Okay, so question 8 seems like a bit of a curveball. It's all about project management within oil and gas.
This one's about showing you can manage different things at once, use resources wisely, and lead a team to success. Think about some complex projects you've led. What were the challenges? How did you keep things on track with the timeline and budget?
Oh, wow. So it's like you're conducting an orchestra, making sure everyone's in sync to create this big production.
Exactly. And just like a conductor needs to know the music, you need to understand the technical side of these projects.
Right. You can't manage something if you don't get what's going on.
Exactly. Okay, ready for the final question from RoleCatcher's Guide? This one goes global. Be prepared to talk about international oil and gas operations.
Ooh, this sounds interesting. So it's more than just knowing where oil and gas is located around the world, right?
Way more. This is about adapting to different cultures and regulations. Have you worked in different countries before, dealt with different regulations? If so, how did you build those relationships with international stakeholders?
And if you haven't had the chance to work abroad yet, is there anything you can talk about?
Absolutely. You can still talk about the global energy landscape and how things like geopolitics, economics, and technology all play a part. It shows you're thinking big picture, which is important for this kind of role.
And that actually ties back to what we were talking about earlier with continuous learning. To really succeed, you got to be aware of all these things that are shaping the oil and gas industry.
For sure. And on that note, RoleCatcher's Career Guide also brings up something else that's super important, networking.
Right. It's not just what you know, it's who you know too.
Exactly. Going to industry events, connecting with people online, finding mentors, these are all important for your career. You never know where that next opportunity is going to come from or who might be able to help you get there.
Networking is key. You know, sometimes even with all the prep in the world and the right connections, putting together a CV or resume can feel impossible.
I hear you. But it doesn't have to be a guessing game. What if you could tailor it to each specific job? That's where RoleCatcher's AI-powered CV resume builder comes in.
Okay, now that's something I need to hear more about because I am all about working smarter, not harder.
This tool is a game changer. Upload your current CV or resume, and the AI looks at it based on the job you're going for.
So no more generic resumes. It's all about customizing it now.
Exactly. The AI will even suggest changes to your formatting, highlight important keywords, and even help you write a better summary to grab their attention.
It's like having a secret weapon to make you stand out.
I love that. You know, we've talked about a lot, from specific interview questions to bigger career advice, but I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about the oil and gas industry changing.
Yeah, it's definitely going through a huge transformation right now.
With everything going on with sustainability and renewable energy, it makes you wonder, how can oil and gas production managers be a part of shaping the future?
That's a really good question, and one that everyone in this field should be thinking about.
So it's about more than just getting the job. It's about being a leader who makes a difference.
Exactly. How can we make production more sustainable? What new technologies can reduce our impact on the environment? And are we supporting policies that promote responsible resource management? These are all things to think about.
So it's about thinking long-term, beyond just the day-to-day work.
Exactly, using your skills and knowledge to create a more responsible future for the industry. It's challenging for sure, but it's also exciting. Totally agree.
Mhm.
So to everyone listening, remember, this is just the first step. Landing that job is great, but it's what you do with it that counts. How are you going to make a positive impact? It's not every day you get to have that kind of impact, though, right? To really shape an entire industry.
And that's what makes this such a cool field. It's challenging, it's always changing, but it's also so rewarding,
Hmm.
especially if you're passionate about making a difference.
Yeah, it's like you're not just managing production, you're managing progress.
Exactly. And that takes us back to what we were talking about earlier, about always learning and growing. You can't be a leader in this field if you're not staying up to date on new technologies, sustainable practices, all of that.
So you have to embrace innovation, not shy away from it.
Right. Think about it. You could be the one leading the way with carbon capture technology, or making drilling more environmentally friendly, or even pushing for more renewable energy sources.
Wow, when you put it like that, it really puts things into perspective. It's like you have the power to create real change.
Yeah. That's what's so exciting. It's not just about building a career, it's about leaving the industry and the planet better than you found it.
Now, that's something worth striving for. And you know what? That forward-thinking attitude, that's what makes RoleCatcher such a great resource. They get it. It's not just about getting the job, it's about thriving in your career and making a real difference.
I agree. They're all about continuous learning, networking, staying informed. You can see it in everything they do. They want people to not just enter the field, but to lead it into a brighter future.
Yeah, it's not just about giving you the tools, it's about showing you how to use them to make a positive impact.
Exactly. That's what makes them different. They genuinely want you to succeed, to land that job, but also to do something meaningful with it.
It's like having a support system right there in your pocket.
Yeah.
So to everyone out there who's interested in becoming an oil and gas production manager, don't be afraid to go for it. Embrace the challenges, take advantage of the opportunities, and never stop learning.
Absolutely. With the right preparation, the right attitude, and helpful resources like RoleCatcher, you can achieve anything. You can not just join this industry, but truly shape its future.
So well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We hope you found it helpful and maybe even a little inspiring.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep. We'll see you in the next one.